folks. Welcome on back to another episode of Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie. We have quite a fantastic treat for y'all this evening. We have a very talented filmmaker up on the come up. I believe we met him at Rock and Shock in 2017, I think. He doesn't quite do straight horror films. They're kind of like exploitation, revenge movies, from the 70s, exploitation-y. They're really cool. They're really super gory. The gore is always there. And great stuff.
That's what I like about foreign films anyways. The blood splatter and the kill scenes are always so much more intense because their rating systems are different than ours.
Right, yeah. It's the Asian culture. I always said they kind of take a little more pride in their work, I think, especially when it comes to filmmaking. That's why you'll see all this really stylized stuff in Kurando's films. Who we're getting into, Kurando Mitsutake is about to be on the show here, and we're gonna dive in.
Maddie, did you notice he's wearing a Carrie t-shirt?
I did. Very fantastic. We're doing an episode tomorrow on Carrie for a different show.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Love it. We're New Englanders though, in the world of Stephen King, so we're dipping into all the folklores and tales that he's told throughout his days.
That's great.
Yeah. So name's gone. We gonna venture
Perfect.
on in.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for doing it, man. Thank you for doing it. We'll start off with, I think that the first time we met you, I believe it was at Rock and Shock in 2017, was it? Or 8?
I believe so, yeah.
I think 17, yeah. Coming around, and that was great, you know what I mean? It's always good to see, meet new soon-to-be familiar faces, you know what I mean, at these things.
Right. Yeah, it's too bad Rock and Shock, ended.
Yeah, I think they're doing another one though. I think they're starting up.
Oh, that's great. Cool.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get you back in town.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a new convention that's going to be going on in October. That's the same weekend that Rock and Shock used to be.
Okay.
And there's a rumor on the rumor mill right now that ScareCon actually might be back next year as well. So there'll be at least a couple on the Upper East Coast that hopefully will replace the ones that we've lost.
Right.
Yeah, ScareCon would be good. That's a good con.
Okay, great.
Got you there. We'll bring you in. We'll bring you in.
Yeah.
For sure. It wasn't as big as Rock and Shock was yet because it hadn't been around on the Upper East Coast as Massachusetts area. It was only on its 3rd year prior to COVID hitting. So they hadn't really had the opportunity to expand on it. So it's still a relatively small, so it's more intimate. You actually get to talk to your fans. They can actually get to talk to you, and you're not trying to scream over them while you have a 2-hour wait for a line behind you.
Right. Oh, that's great. I mean, we didn't have any fan conventions last year, so it'll be nice to see them come back.
Yeah, definitely good. We have a lot of filmmakers on here. We often talk about the last couple of years of steam, that people have kind of gathered going to these cons, and there's a whole machine to keeping your name on the tongue of the audience and keeping your film in front of them and stuff. And whenever we're talking, we're hoping it's not too much of a impact, you know what I mean, but that everybody will follow suit as the doors open up.
Right.
Yeah, we think they will.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Do you have any projects in the works prior to the onset of COVID that you had to halt on?
Well, yes, I was preparing for my feature number 6, and we were slated to shoot it in the April of 2020, and so that was the beginning of the pandemic, and I was just so devastated that I didn't know if they're going to cancel it or postpone it. I mean, I had this kind of suspenseful several weeks till my producers made the decision. But luckily, they didn't pull the plug on it. They postponed it, and so we were slated to shoot that this October. So, but yeah, so I was really devastated because this was my first Japanese studio movie, and we worked so hard to put it together. Last 3 years, basically, my creative partner and I worked really hard to get this launched. And yeah, I mean, I was really in bad shape when we couldn't go on shooting it, but thankfully it got postponed, not canceled.
Yeah,
That's always a good thing. But I
Yes.
mean, I see the kind of work that everybody puts into their film projects. So to know that, you had everything ready to go and then you get to the last second that you can't do it. Yeah, I could see why you would be heartbroken. I would be too.
Oh, it's, the film industry, I mean, true independent, smaller scale productions, a little bit different, but once you try to get the money from investors or studios and stuff like that, it's basically, the film industry's horrible business practice is basically hurry up and wait. Like you have to, you are asked to do everything quickly. Like quickly deliver the synopsis, quickly deliver the script, casting list, and whatnot. But then money people, they don't mind make you wait forever. So you get into the waiting game, and that's horrendous part of the film business without pandemic. And with the pandemic it just got worse.
Yeah, because they figure, oh well, what are you gonna do? They've got everything from you that they need. So
Yeah.
you're not, you want to get your film made. So where are you gonna go? You're just gonna wait that you have no choice but to wait them out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's all the fun in the film industry.
Well, see, I'm turning all gray because I'm having so much fun.
I know. Kurando,
That's just called the stress of COVID, because I'm the same way with you, my friend.
It's true. So yeah, we're gonna crack into it, get into it. We start off, we love your films, man. It's great to have you here and talk about it. For anybody that's not fully hip to Kurando's movies, you're gonna be by the end of this.
Thank you.
The best way to kind of describe them is they're kind of like homage to like 70s exploitation, samurai. The gore is like awesome. It's off the wall. I love the gore with it because it's like, you'll see movies nowadays where like, and you can't really, I don't know if I wouldn't, label them horror films. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put them in the horror genre, but even like horror, the gore and horror genre, and even like in other genres nowadays, they don't go there with it, but he does, which is nice, which I like to see. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm a product of 80s rental video culture. That's when I grew up, and so rubber effects, like the special effects, Dick Smith, Tom Savini, they were my heroes. And so definitely when I start making movies, I wanted to do the special effects heavy movies. As you said, yeah, I haven't really done a full-on horror movie yet. Actually, I did the Japanese giallo Italian horror-esque movie in Japan back in 2019, just before the pandemic. And that post-production for that movie, that's my feature number 5, but that post-production for that needed to be halted because I couldn't fly back to Japan to finish the post. And so we ended up finishing it remotely last year, at the end of last year. So now we are looking for distribution companies, and I think we just secured US distribution. So hopefully by the end of this year, my full-on horror movie is going to come out here. But yeah, so I'm a fan of special effects, physical, practical special effects, and yeah, I love gore effects. So my films are full of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up the VHS for a lot of VHS kids, you know what I mean, coming up in the 80s and the 90s and stuff, and born in Japan, right?
Yes.
Now, what was the VHS culture like over there? I know over here it was like sub shops pretty much that were turned into like rental stores, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
What you guys have over there? How was that?
It's practically the same thing, like a corner, a mom and pop dry cleaner would suddenly turn into rental video house. In a small little area, you would have rental video mom and pop video stores on every corner, that type of thing. Then a little later, like a big franchise chain store came on and stuff. But in the beginning of time, it was small mom and pop stores, and Japanese are crazy. We didn't have any film rating system back then in the 80s, so
That's what I was saying to Matt. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I was just saying that to Matt is that I love foreign films for that reason, because you guys have a little more leeway to get that gore factor going because of the rating systems over there.
Right. I mean, it's good or bad, look how I turned out. Maybe it's a bad thing, but so I could just, the 12-year-old me, I could just walk into any video store and get the goriest, Italian horror movie, like a full cheese zombie or something, with no ID check and stuff. And so I was exposed to a lot of Italian horror movies with ultra gores, some of American stuff, of course, and American rated R movies were available in Japan with no ID check. So yeah, I was exposed to like relatively like a hardcore gory movies pretty young, like 12, 13, very impressionable time.
Yeah.
What's one that you can remember watching as a kid that to this day sticks out to you the most?
Well, I think I was really like kind of my eureka moment, like, oh wow, this is like the genre movie that I love, and I got I need more of these things. I think the eye opener for me was Reanimator.
I actually just rewatched that, and it's people sleep on that movie. They figure because of the company that it's from that it's just a bad B horror movie, but it's so well done. And even if it does have its moments where it's like, oh come on, this is ridiculous, it's fantastic.
It's it's the effects are tight, and it's got the right amount of gore and comedy, and also erotic element, and so it's kind of like sex, death, and rock and roll with a lot of gore. I really think it's one of the pinnacle. Yeah, exactly. So I think it really kind of symbolizes the 80s genre film. So I love that movie, and that really opened up the doors for me. And of course I was young teenage boy, like I was like mesmerized with all the gore and the nudity, in those movies, and I was instantly hooked.
I can't understand why.
I know that there's definitely a Reanimator reference in Karate Kill, of course, with the syringe.
Oh, the shot, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay out of there. Did I hear, to go back to the ratings board, did I hear a story about like in your local neighborhood or so, there was like a serial killer or something like that like killed some ladies, and then they found some of the guinea pig movies in his house? Did it have like a video nasty type vibe that went through town?
Something you're referring to the Miyazaki incident. He was the serial killer in Japan. I still believe he's the worst of its kind. Basically, he was pedophilia, necrophilia serial killer. He kidnapped and killed and actually ate some of the victims. Crazy stuff. And I mean, it was a first of its kind crime in Japan, and of course, media had circus
day.
out of it. Yeah, and yeah, they busted into his house, and the police didn't know any better, so they actually openly showed the room to the media, the room of the serial killer, and of course on his bookshelf there was Japanese guinea pig series, and a video VHS, and basically they used the horror movies and horror video as a scapegoat, like to understand, how could this horrible of a person be created, and they blame it on these gore fest movies and straight to video stuff, and yeah, that since after that whole thing changed. That now the rating system came on board, and a lot of video stores actually stopped carrying gory horror movies.
Was there any people getting jailed or anything like that, like the video nasty thing? Or
I don't think so. I don't think I think that it just it kind of like it affected the industry and the viewers more than actual legal implication.
Yeah, those guinea pig movies are wild. I seen a piece of one of them once, and it was just like a girl on tied to a bed, and like someone came in and like cut her leg off and then left and had lunch and came back later and cut off her like other foot. It's like weird.
But that kind of sounds like a little. I've never seen one, so it kind of, to me, that kind of sounds like one of those Faces of Death type movies.
It has that vibe for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think it's one of those first found footage horror movie kind of thing. The first installment of Guinea Pig was basically, it's a torture porn. This girl gets kidnapped, and a bunch of guys are just doing horrible things to her body, just piercing her eye out or cutting her body open, stuff like that. No story. Yeah, no story. Then from second installment on, it has some story. So it kind of evolved from the torture porn to more of a horror movie stuff. But still, the main attraction for those series was gore effect.
Yeah.
I guess there's still some hope for me. I haven't gone that nutty with the horror movies yet to see one of those.
Right. Well, the Unearthed Films here in the US, they resurrected the series, and they are doing the series called American Guinea Pig, and they kind of follow the footstep of the torture porn, gore filled, effect filled stuff. And
I wanted to. I could slowly feel myself dying after watching a Serbian film, so I'm kind of good.
Right.
I know my limits.
Yeah, it's the same company that released for US, so yeah. You know the flavor. Yes.
Yeah,
the guys over at Unearthed.
That's a little too much for me, so right. I know my limits. I'll stay away from those.
So, did you start filmmaking in Japan, or did you start when you came over to the States?
Well, when I was growing up in the 80s, the joke was Japanese didn't watch Japanese movies. It was, the Japanese film industry was going weaker and weaker. And, Hollywood movies were getting bigger and bigger and more popular all over the world. And so consequently, I didn't really get turned on to Japanese movies till I was in college. So, all I was watching was, American B movies, like Reanimator and stuff, and big Hollywood movies. And so I think, and I also believe at that time in Japan, no universities in Japan offered film classes. So I think there was some, more professional training schools for filmmakers and stuff, but there was no universities that offered film schools. So it was kind of natural for me to wanting to go overseas and study film in college. And so I came over here in high school as an exchange student. And it's kind of funny story. I went to Fresno, California, and my map of US was like this big, and the California was this big. So from Fresno to LA was like this much. So I was like, oh, maybe I can bike there. If I go to Fresno, I can bike to Hollywood. And totally wrong
Not so
idea.
much.
It's like a 350 miles from LA. But so I went to Fresno, and it was really like they called Fresno, California, the armpit of California. So, but I made a lot of good friends and stuff. But I came over here wanting to study films, and then I went to San Francisco Art Institute, and after high school, and then I transferred to California Institute of the Arts, CalArts, in LA, and I graduated there, and that's how I began filmmaking. So yeah, I'm a little bit of hybrid. I grew up in Japan, but I came over here, got educated here, and I started making movies here. So yeah, to answer your question, no, I didn't start filmmaking over there. I started here.
But it'll still have that flavor, so it's well worth coming over here to do it.
Yeah, yes, it's I did my first feature when I was 29, and it's called Monsters Don't Get to Cry, and it didn't get the American distribution, but it's a revenge flick, set around the fictional high school shooting, and one of the victim's father kidnaps the perpetrator and basically tortures him to teach him a lesson, the value of life and whatnot. And it's kind of a theater play like confined space, a thriller. Mm-hmm. And I combined ultra gore effects with the high human drama. And unfortunately, there was no audience for that market. Like people who loves high drama, they don't like the gory movies, and people who likes gory movies, they don't like human drama, like a talking heads drama. Yeah. So we didn't get the distribution. We only got the distribution in Japan and Germany. But I learned a lesson hard way. It's like, in order for me to do business here, I have to tap into my background. Like me being a Japanese filmmaker, I have to use that background to do business here, and that's why my second film was Samurai Avenger. So I kind of made a hybrid spaghetti western with the samurai movie flavor kind of thing. So from there on, I started to use my Japanese background in my materials. But so I am a hybrid of a filmmaker between US and Japan.
Yeah, the Monsters Don't Get to Cry is such a serious subject. Like, what did that come about from? Do you remember? Or?
Yeah, it's I was struggling after graduating from film school, and I was saying, like, oh man, like if I don't get to do a feature film by age 30, maybe I should, I don't know, start cooking ramen or making sushi. Maybe career change needs to happen. But luckily, we were able to raise money independently, little shy of $100,000 to do a feature film. And so I actually got the submissions for script. But back then, I wasn't really interested in writing my own material. And so I opened the submission for a script, and then this one script came, and it was based on the theater play, and really good stuff. And I thought, okay, with the little shy of $100,000, maybe I can do this because it's a confined space, it's controlled environment, and so we did that movie. So that's how I got to do my first feature.
I equate Monsters Don't Get to Cry a little bit like in Last House on the Left, along those
yes.
lines.
Right.
And it even has that vibe of like the audience really didn't know how to take Last House when they first seen it because of that over extreme violence mixed with the hippie happy music. You know what I mean? And
right.
Couldn't comprehend what was going on. So I think that kind of fit into it. And there's so much emotion when it comes to school shooting stuff, especially like right now. I think it's a lot for people to kind of digest. You know what I mean?
Right. I think I still like the movie. It's my first feature. So,
hold a special place in your heart.
Yeah, it does. And and also I have many regrets, like many things that I would not do the same now. But I would love to find the proper US home for it one day, and get it out there. We actually shot it on video. We couldn't afford to shoot it on film, but from video we did the telecine. We actually burnt the movie onto 35 millimeter film, so we still have the 35 film negative. So I would love to do 4K transfer of that, and get it released someday here.
Oh, that would be kind of
That would
dope.
be cool.
Yeah,
I definitely support that.
cool.
So you brought up Samurai Avenger, the blind
Yes,
boy.
sir.
You know what I mean? It takes, I think, some influence from like Shogun Assassin, a little bit in there. Like the what is it? The Lone Wolf and the Cub. That series.
Yep.
Weird, and I love the style of it. It's got great style. All the films
Thank
have
you.
great style. Camera work is beautiful. You know what I mean? I really recommend everybody going to check out his films. But can you give us a little brief, how that one came about, from jumping off from the previous?
Right. So from Monsters Don't Get to Cry, I went to a lot of producers and a lot of distribution companies, and I got a lot of no's from them. But basically, the important lesson I learned was, as we talked about earlier, I need to tap into my Japanese background, and they were like, all the producers I met, they were all like, well, you're from Japan. Why don't you use your Japanese background and do a movie? And so I took that advice to my heart, and I was like, okay, so if I were to do a Japanese movie, there definitely should be samurai movie. But then like samurai movies are very expensive to pull off because it's a costume play, it's a period stuff, and so I was like, well, what to do? Then my answer was I would do kind of a weird hybrid world, fictional kind of parallel world setup, that this nowhere land is kind of a samurai exists and a gunslinger exists. So it's kind of like a spaghetti western inspired gory samurai movie, and we called it the sushi western.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's how. Then after I did the synopsis and the script, and actually, at that time it was a pre-depression, like a subprime loan, catastrophe, economic disaster. So a lot of people had the little stash of cash hidden, and they didn't want to pay tax on it, so they could like invest in the movie as a tax thing. And so I got some really decent amount of money, about little over 200,000, I think, and I got the great producer to come in to produce it, and we put together that movie. And the casting was a little hard, so I ended up playing the main character, and which was a kind of a blessing in disguise, because it was effect filled movie, and we had a lot of waiting period for makeups to be applied and everything. So when you see the movie Samurai Avenger, all the closed up single shot of me, we did it on the side when we were waiting for the makeup to be done with other actors. So like that was actually how we were able to actually finish the movie, shoot it. I mean, as I was directing, I stayed in the costume and the makeup all the time. Then whenever we have the little pocket of time, waiting for the makeup, I told the camera person to say, "Hey, come, let's do the insert shot of my face," and we just did the stuff, and that's how we were able to pull it off. But yeah, that movie actually put me on the map, so to speak, with the film festival around the world and the distribution around the world.
Yeah. Did you pull influence from El Topo at all?
I subconsciously probably, but that wasn't really what I was going for. I was going for more of Sergio Corbucci, Sergio Leone, more Italian stuff. So I wasn't really thinking about Jodorowsky at all. But yeah, subconsciously, I guess. And after it was released in film festivals, a lot of people made a comment about El Topo. So I'm honored, but it was subconscious.
Yeah, Jodorowsky's always there somewhere.
I know he's very influential. Yes.
Yeah. The Synapse, I believe. Synapse, I believe, released a beautiful Blu-ray of this out there.
Oh yeah, Synapse did an amazing job. It was kind of a funky U.S. release. We first sold it to this distribution company, and they actually tanked, and it's kind of nasty. It was nasty that they owe a lot of money to their financiers. So I had to hire a lawyer to get my rights back of the movie, because they had like 12-year contract to represent the movie. And so basically after the distribution company tanked, their creditor owned my movie rights too. Then I was like, no, then I need to find a home for this, new home for this movie. So I had to hire a lawyer to go after the rights, and I got it back. And thankfully, Snaps picked it up, and they did the beautiful Blu-ray release.
Yeah, the business side could be like more horrifying than the movies sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it's crazy.
Did it take a long time in order for the lawyers to get the rights back for you to finally be able to distribute it?
Yeah, I think it was like a 6-month ordeal, and yeah. So, but we got it back, and that was a good thing. But still, the original distributor still owed us like $8,000, and then we never saw that money. So again, that's the horrific side of the film business.
Yeah, it's quite a crazy one. Nobody wants to give out that money. You got to have the business and the creative. You know what I mean? The creative guy just wants to go in there and make their movie, but then it's it's a process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's industry, so it's definitely harder than a lot of people think.
Yeah. Was that your first time getting in front of the camera? I know that you did some TV.
Yeah, I actually I had this I was having drinks with one of my good friends who's a professional actor here in LA, and he told me, hey, my agent is looking for someone like you. He's looking to represent interesting looking Asian person. And I was like, we were having a couple of drinks, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll go meet him, and I didn't take it seriously. And but he did set up a meeting with his agent with me, and so I went to Hollywood, Beverly Hills, to meet this guy, and he actually wanted to sign me on right away. I had no acting background, and you hear all the horror stories about wannabe actors coming to Hollywood and they can never get the representation. So I was like, I just stumbled upon the representation with the actual full-on agent, and yeah, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of too good to be true, but I'm gonna do it. And I my career goal is to be a movie director, so I didn't really think seriously about it, but I did sign on with the acting agent, and actually, it was kind of funny that I went to the first audition ever in my life. It was a Vodafone cell phone, European cell phone company commercial shot in LA. My very first audition, actually, I got the main character, and it was actually union shoot. So after I did the commercial shoot, I got the threatening letter from Screen Actors Guild already saying, you better join the union, otherwise you won't work in this town again. So I was like, holy shit, I hurried over to Wilshire and joined the union, and it was really interesting. And so like after just one commercial, I was SAG actor, and then my agent sent me to audition for this TV show called Ugly Betty. Yeah, and George Takei was going to play this Japanese fashion designer character, but he had the schedule conflict, and they had to cast someone Japanese in hurry. And I actually ended up getting the role as a Japanese, kind of a moody, difficult Japanese fashion designer, and that was my Hollywood debut, if you would, and then boom, I was network TV actor already, and I was hugging and kissing Vanessa Williams on the set. I was like,
Well,
what's
there's nothing
going
wrong
on?
with that.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? And so yeah, that kind of started my short-lived acting career. Then I was on the second season of Heroes,
Yeah.
and I was actually on the last season of ER.
Okay.
But Stanley Tucci's monologue ran long, so they had to cut my scene. So I got paid for it, but I didn't survive. Yeah. No. So every time I see him on TV, I'm still like, But
You stole my moment.
yeah. Yeah. So that was my acting stuff. Then I was already SAG actor, and then I was like, okay, maybe I should go ahead play the main character for Samurai Avengers. So that could open up different doors for different elements. So.
Yeah, I'm always, curious. I mean, do you think that some of the acting was valuable to the filmmaking? You know what I mean? Process, getting out there, networking, meeting some people. Those are two huge shows. Quite possibly the biggest TV shows of those times. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I think definitely because I'm not classically trained. I mean, I even still to the day, I really don't want to consider myself actor, because that would be an insult to all the serious actors in the world. But because I know about camera, I know about filmmaking. If I look at the camera and see the lens, what kind of lens that's on, I kind of know how big the screen is, or how tight I am there. So I know. If I do this, I'll be out of the frame. If I do this, I'll be out of focus. I can judge those technical stuff. So, it's film acting mainly is all about hitting marks at the right moment and stuff. So the full focus puller don't lose you. So even though I'm not classically trained actor, I think my filmmaking knowledge helped my performances. And so I think that's how I got those roles.
Yeah, a lot of people will say just get on set. No matter what you can do, just get on set. You'll make, friends, you'll network, and then you might meet somebody that'll end up producing your movie in 5 years. You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, yeah. I learned so much on set doing my stuff or appearing on different stuff more than what I learned in film school. Film school was great. Hanging out with friends and having great time, but really film schools don't prepare you for real world at all. And you just need to get out there on your own and get your experience. Yes.
Oh yeah, build relationships.
Yep.
People don't understand.
I think that's just with any kind of schooling in general. You don't,
That's the thing.
The book smart element and the street smart element kind of are like two different things. So until you actually get that hands-on knowledge, you don't know what you're capable of.
Right, totally. I mean, film schools are a conundrum of its own conundrum, because good film professor could be a really good film professor, but he's been teaching for the last 30 years, so that means he doesn't have the real set experience. He might be a good educator, but he's not a real person to actually give your career advice. So it's really difficult. It's like depends on what you want from the film school. You really need to choose which school you go to carefully.
For sure. You know what I mean? And they you get in there, you make friends, and it's like people want to be around people they like, and they're easy to work with. You know what I mean? So like that's huge. People don't even realize how huge that is. It's like, why would you not want to? Because obviously you want to be around people that you like. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So from Samurai, yeah.
No, I was gonna say it's always better like when there's a good energy, good vibes, because it just makes the work environment better. You get more accomplished. You're not constantly sitting there breaking up fights like you're in a kindergarten playground. So
True.
It's beneficial.
Oh,
very true. Very true. Now I know you said that Samurai Avenger was like you know, it was a way bigger movie for you. It was like a step up. Did you find that made things easier coming off of that going into Gunwoman, or was it just equally, you know, the same amount of a battle to get to the game, so to speak?
Well, it's so I did Summer Avenger back in 2009, and I was really hoping that that movie is gonna, like, you know, launch me into Hollywood career, you know, and we actually were gonna land on a really big contract with that movie with the big you know, big time Hollywood movie directors production company. They were actually gonna buy the whole movie, and they're gonna distribute it, and they'll own the rights for it, and maybe they'll do the Hollywood remake of it, stuff like that. I don't know if I should mention the film director's name, but somebody really big. And
SR? SR? Is there an SR in there?
Yes, SR. Yes,
I thought it might be. I thought it might be.
Yes, and yeah, and but you know, that deal fell through because subprime loan, you know, financial disaster happened, and I guess all the investors in the film industry pulled away. So that didn't happen, and I had to, you know, release it independently, stuff like that. And so yeah, so I was kind of and devastated, and at the time my dad was getting sick in Japan, so you know, I had to make kind of a family decision to go back to Japan and you know, live there for a couple of years, or I don't know. We didn't know if we were going to be there for indefinitely or not. But so we moved. Actually, we moved back to Japan, and then the Japanese tsunami and the nuclear power plant disaster happened, and you know, my son was small. You know, he was 2 at the time, and we weren't close to the you know, the Fukushima power plant, but we were close enough for us to be concerned. So we actually moved back to US after 2 years, and so it was kind of a chaotic time in my life. And you know, when I moved back to Japan, I was already making connection with the Japanese film industry people, studio people, and several things were in development. But I basically had to abandon those and move back here for my family safety. And so I didn't know what was going to happen to my career. I was actually pretty devastated. Then the distribution company, Japanese distribution company that distributed Monsters Don't Get to Cry and the Samurai Avenger for Japan, approached me saying, we can't offer you that big of a budget, but if you want to do a movie with us, we would love to produce it for you. So yeah, so they offered like $900,000, and so that's considerably less than my 2 previous movies. But you know, I took it because I needed something to resurrect my career, because I was moving back and forth the countries, and you know, I was kind of burning bridges on industries both here and over there. So yeah, I took the deal. You know, of course, $900,000 is like really nothing to do a film, and so it was a struggle. But you know, when Asami came on board, I mean, it was like, you know, she was born to play that character in the movie. And so yeah, so Gunwoman, I think it really was more of a passion project for both me and Asami. And you know, I mean, it was kind of like a hard time for any Japanese back then. You know, like, we were coming out of a nuclear disaster and the earthquake disaster, and so, you know, our mentality was kind of in sync. You know, like, yeah, all right, we the shit hit the fan, and we really now have to, you know, like, do our passion project. You know, we need to like leave something behind in case something bad happens. You know, that type of thing. So yeah.
And this is the first in a long ongoing collaboration with Asami.
Yes, unfortunately, it got cut short by her retirement. But yeah, we did Gun Women, and Gun Women took us all over the world. Like we went to fan conventions in Europe, film festivals in North America, Europe, everywhere, and we just had a really great time. And yeah, it was. I'm still really sad that she decided to retire so early, and
Very early. I'm surprised
yeah,
to hear that. Yeah.
yeah, and consequently, Karate Kill became last of our collaboration. But I'm really hoping someday, if I can raise money for Gun Woman 2, I can pull her out of the retirement and get back her in the business.
That's what I was just going to ask you, if you could pull her out of retirement for another project.
Hey, if Michael Jordan can do it, she can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think Gun Woman 2 could bring her back. Yeah, because she loved that movie. So yeah.
How did you come up with the idea for Gun Woman? You know what I mean?
Well, when I was in film school, one of the idea I had for my thesis film was a story about these diamond smugglers. They would smuggle diamond across the borders, hiding them in dead people's body. And so I had this idea of hiding something in somebody's body surgically. And so that took kind of a twist and turn. And then the Gun Woman idea, like in order to penetrate this unbreakable fortress, you had to be a corpse to get shipped in, and you get revived, and you have to do the hit. So yeah, it loosely based on idea I had in my film school days.
Yeah, and we won't spoil anything, but there's insertion, we'll say. This one, what is it? One in the chamber. We'll say one in the chamber. That would be a good tagline. That would have been a great tagline.
Yes.
And just I consider you to be like the king of like that genre right now. You know what I mean? Like,
Thank you.
It's unfortunate that she stepped away, but I think she'll come back.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah.
Now, when you typically write, you like to write by yourself, or do you like the group toss ideas around?
I've been fortunate to work with very good producers for my career, and usually, producers really don't get the writing credit, but I do the first draft and I send it to them, and they will, make a comments, give me notes, and I take some notes, don't take some notes, but it's a really good collaboration with my producers and me coming up with the writing. So even though I don't particularly have a writing partner or co-writers, I consider my producers to be the collaborator on my scripts, and it's so far it's been working great.
That's good to hear, because sometimes you hear the producers can be not so great when they're adding input.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is true that there are a lot of producers in the film industry today who doesn't really know about filmmaking. Like either they have the lawyer background or a business background. Basically they are money producers.
Right.
There are money producers and there are film producers. Like people who actually know how to produce a movie. And because there's no distinguishing, the difference between a job title, so people kind of get confused about that. But yeah, I've been fortunate. Yes, I've heard a lot of horror stories about different, different producers. But yeah.
Yeah, you guys got a mutual respect, it sounds, which is the key to the whole thing. Because once somebody feels like the producer feels like they know a little more than the creative person, then there's a gigantic issue there. You know what I
Sure. And I don't want to sound, like a teenager, but my producers get me. It's like they, because they know my movies already. So the people who's willing to hire me and willing to work with me, they value my vision. Thankfully, and so they don't make that bad of a suggestion. That out of blue kind of suggestion. It's basically, how to build on my vision. So, I've been lucky like that.
How do you handle a bad idea when given from a producer? And a friendly pat him on the back, give him a nice little.
Yeah, you kind of just beat me to that one.
Well, it's sometimes it's unfortunate because like say, I'm not saying Karate Kill producers are bad, but
Right.
one of the suggestion that I made and they turned it down, which I still think was a bad idea, was I wanted to have a big karate battle in Karate Kill. Like in order for the main character to be to show his traditional karate technique, he needed to be faced with another karate master, so we'll have a karate battle and to show the classic element of the martial art stuff. And I suggested that, but the producer said, no, that's kind of boring, so let's not do the karate versus karate, let's just build on the karate versus gun and karate versus sword and stuff like that. And I still, to the day, I really think in Karate Kill there should have been a karate battle.
Yeah.
So I guess I didn't really quite answer your question, but that was the example of me losing that idea. The battle, like with the bad suggestion.
Yeah. Well, very high emotion too. I also wanted to compliment the emotion, the way you can do that. In a lot of revenge movies, you'll see they go, oh, there has to be emotion here, so you see it thrown in. But the emotion that you have, like you really feel the anger and like that desperate feel for when like in Karate Kill, like with this.
It seems real, it's not.
It does. It's
Thank
more
you.
so than real. It's relatable. You know
Thank
what
you.
I mean? You really want them to get to it. And in all of the movies, the revenge based, it's because you do see that. You'll see that in lesser quality revenge films. You'll see that it's like that, oh well, they're supposed to be mad because they did something to their family, but it's like, and they leave that emotion for you to kind of create within yourself. But with your films, I like how you don't have to really go that far to create, because like it's right there, and the way you come, you take it in. And you get angry at points, the way that these people are acting wild, you know what I mean? There's a lot of really colorful characters in your films, you know what I mean?
You kind of want to reach through the screen and start beating people up yourself.
I want to bring up the villain in Karate Kill. Now, is that taken from Charles Manson? That's got to be, right? Like some reference there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But it wasn't direct. Because my vision for that character was more of a computer geek kind of setup, because he's the internet criminal, but when that actor Kurt Geiger came to audition, he looked like Manson, and I was like, I felt the gravity towards him, I was like, oh, I didn't really expect him to be, homage to Manson, but I was like, wow, like here's this great actor. I went with it, so it wasn't planned. It was presented to me that way. Yeah. But thank you very much for your compliment on the revenge emotion. It's interesting you mentioned that, because when I first saw RoboCop, I saw it on kind of a bootleg VHS copy in Japan, and it didn't have Japanese subtitle. It only had original English audio, and back then I didn't speak English, so I watched it. I loved it, and I really couldn't understand the language, but understood everything in that movie. So essentially, Paul Verhoeven told me the importance of language of cinema. It really doesn't matter if you speak the language or not. The film should be visual storytelling, and like all the villains in RoboCop, I mean, you hate them. You like you said, you want to reach out and you want to grab them and punch them in the face.
Someone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that was like the lesson I got from Verhoeven films, and I think I'm applying the same kind of a technique, like even though you don't get the story or even you don't even speak English, but you get the hatred, you feel the need for revenge, and
the body language and tone can take you many places.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I think that's kind of I'm aware of that, and I'm really happy to hear that you guys think I'm doing an okay job with that. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
To go to that Verhoeven, that RoboCop deal, man, I remember seeing the uncut version of RoboCop. Criterion Collection, I think, released it, would like blow his arm off and just be like, wow.
Yeah, it came out on Laserdisc first. Yeah.
I always like giving Criterion Collection credit because I mean that's where I see the majority of a lot of the foreign films that I love. I got to give credit to them. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, they definitely have the fair share of genre love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The Karate Kill, all the beautiful that without teasing, without spoiling anything. There's like there's a shotgun wound close to the end, which is like crazy. I love it because usually when you see that effect, it's a dust. It's like blood dust, and then it's over. But that actually looked legitimately like somebody lost their head.
Yeah, we lucked out. We did Sam Yano, my the B camera operator. He's amazing VFX person too. So he provided amazing visual effects for Karate Kill, and that shotgun thing was definitely his credit. Yes.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how great the films are. Like the quality is really great all across the board. Everybody go check them out.
Thank you.
You brought up visual effects, so I'm going to bring up The Grudge too. You know what I mean? You got to do some assistance on it, which was cool. Any stories from working on that, by any chance? You got to work with Takashi Shimizu.
Yeah, it was great. Shimizu-san and I are actually the same age. We were both born in 1973. So I think he's a little bit, a few months earlier. He's kind of like my big brother to me. I mean, my career is compared to his career, like super small, but that we remained good friends. And I actually became friends with his whole family, his brother and sister and his parents too. We got hired to assist him when he was doing the post-production on Grudge 2, Hollywood Grudge 2. And SR's company was producing it. And so they hired me, and I was mainly a translator for a visual effects artist. And that's why my credit is on IMDb, as a visual effects department. But it was really a great experience. I got to work with a whole Hollywood studio post-production people, and it was actually really funny. Stallone was finishing I believe he was finishing Rocky Balboa, and our post-production schedule was kind of chasing Stallone with Grudge 2. So like we would go into the color correction room, and operator would be like, "Oh, Stallone was just sitting there," and Shimizu-san and I would fight over who's going to sit on that Stallone chair and stuff like that. So, and one time I think we went to the sound mix or something, and there was a golden Rolls Royce parked on the parking lot, and back then I was smoking, so I was at the parking lot smoking cigarette, and it's a little bit racist, but the guys came out and they said, "So what is he like? What is he like?" He asked me because I'm Asian and I'm standing next to the Rolls Royce. They thought I was a
you must be the
driver.
chauffeur.
Yeah, exactly. So but I was like, "What are you talking about?" Then they were like, "Oh, this is Stallone's car. Aren't you the driver?" So I was like, "No, but Stallone's here," So that was really funny. But yeah, so that's a good memory from that post production. But also, Shimizu-san hired me as assistant director for the reshoot. We went to Chicago to do some of the insert shots, and that movie took place in Chicago, but it wasn't shot in Chicago. It was shot in Tokyo, actually. It was a very kind of a funky production. The principal photography was in Japan, and the post production was in LA. Then the insert shots and the B unit stuff was shot in Chicago to get the actual Chicago city background and stuff like that. So when we did those second unit shot, Shimizu-san hired me as a not second unit director, but assistant director, and that was like a full-on Sony Pictures, Hollywood production. So like, when I go to the Chicago to LAX to fly over to Chicago, limo came to my apartment and picked me up. Like I was like, wow, this is Hollywood, man. So that's like, I've never done Hollywood production so far on my directorial efforts. It's always kind of on the poor side, independent stuff, but as an actor, I got to experience the Hollywood stuff, and I got to experience Hollywood stuff with Grudge too as a crew member. That was really fun.
Yeah. There's definitely you see the difference. We've had some big Hollywood films come to Boston, and you definitely see the difference between our smaller budgeted films and those Hollywood films when they come.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's like when summer of 2015 in Japanese theaters, the first legendary Godzilla, legendary productions Godzilla, first installment of that Godzilla was in theaters, and then Gunwoman was in theaters together. So if you go to Cineplex or whatever, and Cinecon, and you see Godzilla poster and the Gunwoman poster together, then I'm like, my movie is not even the catering budget for this movie, but it's standing together. It was very kind of funny.
We do film. I made a movie called DJ Stan the Man, which is a very raunchy, like dark comedy.
You gave me the copy of it.
That's right, I did.
Yeah, I remember it. It's nicely, like, you got the little Jalo lighting going on.
I try. Yeah, we try to make it good. We're coming from the drive influence.
Yes.
I remember I got a picture somewhere of a marquee where it says DJ Stan the Man and Finding Dory, which I thought was interesting. We screened at like a theater that was, doing the Hollywood films as well as ours.
Right.
So that was a nice little fun little keepsake picture.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you brought up Stallone, so we'll do a big segue here and go. Sylvester Stallone was really close friends with Joe Spinell. Joe Spinell was in a movie called Maniac.
Yes.
Which influenced you.
Yes.
When it came to a movie called Maniac Driver, which was highly influenced by, of course, Maniac, and Taxi Driver, which Taxi Driver is my favorite movie of all time. One of the greatest, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What's your take on Scorsese and his influence on cinema?
Oh, I think he was one of the first directors' name that I remember. When I was like a early teenager. Like I started watching movies with the director's name, and definitely Scorsese was one of the first directors that I seeked out. And I mean, I was really lucky. Like when Goodfellas came out in theaters, I was in high school, so I got to see it in movie theaters on the opening day, stuff like that. So Yeah, he's definitely super influential, and I love Taxi Driver too. I mean, it's ultra violent,
Yeah.
drama, human drama. It's kind of infringing on genre picture a little bit too, but yeah, Paul Schrader is one of my favorite writer director as well.
Mhm.
So, them working together on that movie, and with the Dick Smith's special effects, I mean, it's just priceless. And yeah, so I got the idea to do uh, interesting hybrid of a taxi driver in Japan, kind of a maniac leniency of wanting to kill people, wanting to kill beautiful women, and I flavor that with Italian giallo, Argento, Fulci kind of stuff, and yeah, I'm really happy about the movie. It was. As the economy is getting worse and worse around the world, it was shot with the smallest budget ever of my career so far. Knock on wood, that's like the lowest I go, because that was just crazy. But basically, the budget was so low, we could only afford to shoot it in 4 days and a half.
Holy shit.
I to be honest with you, I actually have no recollection, no memory from the set. I mean, I was like, I think I didn't sleep.
I
I
was gonna
think I
say you're
was just.
probably still trying to catch up on sleep now somehow.
Yeah, I know. Yes, yeah, man, that was a brutal. Like, I feel like now I can do anything. It's like
Yeah.
that was like my boot camp film, and yeah, it was definitely the hardest one to pull off in my career, but I'm super happy with the result. Yeah, hopefully sometime this year, with like before the end of the year, it'll come out here. But I think my producer's just sealing the US distribution deal. So yeah, if I when I can share the news with you guys, I'll send you the messenger or something. Maybe we can schedule some kind of a preview so you guys can review it,
That'd be
to
cool.
for
That'd
the
be
US
awesome.
launch and stuff like that. But
I'd love to see it.
yeah, I mean, I think if you see it, you don't see how cheaply it was made. I mean,
All
we
right.
we got really locked out with amazing production team, and it was actually kind of interesting because it was my first time shooting in Japan with the entire Japanese cast and crew. And I was just mesmerized how hardworking they are, and yeah, they were machine. Like one day we were like having this murder scene in the shower, and this shower was this funky photo studio shower that was on top of the building, and so it was on the top of the building, no ceiling, and you just have the shower head in this beautiful kind of Mediterranean setup, and so it was beautiful. So we decided to shoot there, but that night it rained. Like, so there's no ceiling, so all the rain came out, and we had all the lighting gear to do the Jello lighting, and they were like troopers. They like boom, like they put the C stand up with the plastic sheet so that all the lighting equipment don't get wet, and it was like amazing. It's like wow, like these guys, because you get spoiled shooting movies in LA, because you never count for rainy days, because we never get one, and but it was so when you see the movie, uh the production value, you will never guess it was shot in 4 days and a half, and we got such a great actors. I mean, we got man, we got two of the sexiest uh Japanese adult actresses in the industry working today,
Just
and
caught
they
my
were just
attention.
Some of my favorite actresses.
yes,
Nothing wrong
they're,
with
they're
sexy women in movies.
oh man, well, especially for Giallo, it's like that's the signature thing, like yeah. So uh yeah, it's they were just such amazing performers. They not only they were attractive and beautiful, they were they were really trooper of actors, and they were taking their performance very seriously. And you'll see it. I mean, I think you can compare them to some of the leading ladies of giallo, genre from the 70s, and you would really like say like, wow, like this casting really paid homage to original giallo movies. And the leading guy who played Maya, taxi driver, Tomoki Kimura, is this up and coming Japanese actor. I think he's going to be Japan's leading man very soon. And we were so lucky to have him on board on this picture. In several years, definitely I couldn't afford him, anymore. But we got him on the way up. So, but he's such an amazing actor, and yeah, you'll totally believe all his psychotic performances, and you'll enjoy him just like you did in the Taxi Drivers. De Niro's performance was amazing. I think Tomoki Kimura's performance in Maniac Driver is really, really good.
I support it. We don't need a Taxi Driver 2 when we have Maniac Driver, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, for a second, when you say Maniac Driver, I thought we were talking about me, but then I forgot, we were actually talking about a movie.
Oh, Mel. You seem like a family man, talking about the family. I love it. You brought up your son real quick. Has your son seen your films, and does he have an opinion? No? You keep him away, or does he stay away?
Well, both. I think my wife actually is the gatekeeper.
Okay.
Her nickname in our house is MPAA. So she's definitely banning my movies from him, and which is fine. I mean, let's face it, it's sad, but it's true that cinema is dead. Like it's not what it used to be. It's like I don't know, if you're a young teenager or something. I don't know if you want to go into filmmaking right now. This subscription-based everything, YouTube culture. It's really death to the cinema. Like I don't want to be a doomsdayer, but I just don't see a bright future for filmmaking. And so I don't want my son to be inspired to be a struggling filmmaker like myself. So,
Right.
It's good that we're keeping him away from it.
Yeah, the filmmaking's weird. It's so oversaturated now. Everybody's doing it because it's a little easier with technology. You can shoot it on a phone and stuff. And now, unfortunately, you're running into a place where
Everything's right to streaming.
yeah, I almost felt like there was a time where like if you had the talent, money didn't matter. But now there's so much money involved that like you got to have the money too. You know what I mean? You just have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the internet, digital technology and the internet was a Pandora's box that maybe we shouldn't have opened, but we did.
Yeah.
So now, YouTube. I mean, I
Kind of
definitely
have to live
watch.
with the repercussions of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I enjoy YouTube stuff, fair share of it, but also there is a side of the YouTube that's, there's tons of illegal uploads, music, movies. I mean, Gunwoman, if you can, I mean, you YouTube Gunwoman, I'm sure gazillion different language Gunwoman comes up, and that's just the nature of it. And, and also the young generation they're kind of getting used to getting everything for free. They don't learn to pay for whatever you enjoy. And also the subscription-based mentality is doing the same thing. You don't practice paying one movie one price. Like it's like, okay, you pay monthly fee and you get all these movies. So that type of thing. So I really think rock bands are not making money, movies are not making money. It's just like the separation, just like world economy. Like rich are getting richer and poor are getting poorer. Yeah, big movies are getting bigger, but smaller movies are getting smaller. So it's kind of sad.
It is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're
It's
still
like,
getting them out, but you're still getting your films out there, which is the important part of it.
but are they being seen though?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Probably
it's
not
the,
by as many as he would like.
well,
Well, in
like
general.
yeah, just like, like my struggle with getting Maniac Driver distributed. It's like, we got turned down by several distribution companies around the world because they say, okay, this might do really well on the package physical media,
Mhm.
but it may not do well on digital format, streaming. So therefore, we are not taking this movie, so that type of thing. So it's like the shift of like a physical media versus streaming is the shift has happened. Like
Yeah.
streaming is main source of income for distributors nowadays, and I don't know why Maniac Driver isn't strong on the streaming. I don't know what was that decision was based on, but that kind of a judgment happens on the your movie, and I mean, I can't counter argue that because I don't know about that realm, and it's really kind of a difficult and confusing time right now for filmmakers, I think.
Yeah. And I believe streaming in like a bigger, not like the smaller ones, but like in a bigger one, it's like a buy-in thing where they're not buying one film, they're buying the whole catalog of that season, so to speak. You know
Right.
what I mean? Of
Right.
whatever movie they was gonna put out. And to go with what Mel was saying, it's like it does hurt it because like, yeah, it's getting put out there, but look at it like it's Halloween. You hand a kid a Snicker bar, they're gonna go, ooh, a Snicker bar. They're gonna eat it, but if you give them a big bag of candy, they're only gonna pick out the shiny pieces, and everything else goes in the trash. So it's the
Right.
same thing with films. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but
Right.
so
Yeah. The importance of individual films are gone. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, you don't get a lot of films with substance anymore, really, either. So it's kind of like popcorn, like fast food. Somebody equated it. The fast food ones I always thought was great. It was like you can have a really good quality film that's like a 3-course meal. You know what I mean? It fills up your body and your soul. Or you could have like this kind of like garbagey movies that are like McDonald's that you just eat and you're like, okay, well, what's the next thing? Because I didn't get anything from this, so I need to move on to the next thing. And I always thought that was a good little like, vibe of it.
Yeah.
So
Very accurate, unfortunately.
we won't get too dark, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So what's up next? COVID's going away. Maniac Driver is going to be getting gigantic. We won't speculate, but we're feeling it. We're hoping for gigantic distribution. Every home in the world will have it playing 24/7.
Yes.
And that's because Maddie and I are going to be a street team and selling them out of the trunks of our cars.
That's good. That's good.
It's the future. We're going back to the 90s.
We'll take it
That's
back.
right. Yes. Well, as I mentioned, my originally slated to shoot movie number 6. That was last April, and we were finally getting to do it in this October. So we started the pre-production now. We're not 100% started yet, but we're kind of testing the water right now. We are hiring the key positions, like U.S. line producers and casting directors and stuff like that. And I think we're going to go full-fledged in August, but July is going to be more action, more hiring of the key personnels, fight choreographers and special effects person, and maybe the principal casting would start. So slowly but surely we're gearing up to do the October shoot in LA, and I'm super excited. This one is the biggest budget so far for my career, and it's kind of a return to my root. It's a crazy sci-fi movie, post-apocalypse sci-fi stuff, and also so kind of like a samurai Avenger world, and it's you know, as I mentioned, it's my first Japanese studio movie, so hopefully this will have a big theatrical release in Japan and also overseas. We are already in talks with several very you know, prominent big film festivals around the world to have the world premiere, regional premieres, and also the the characters in the movies are based on Japanese big manga, living legend of a manga artist. So because it's a studio movie, I can't really disclose anything right now. But yeah, so I'm super excited. You know, I think with you know, heavy names attached to this movie. And I just had the casting meeting with the studio, Japanese studio, online last night, and someone pretty huge is signed on to play one of the really juicy characters. So I think this one definitely is going to be the biggest one for my career so far, and I think you guys will love it.
I think so too, man.
I think so. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
This is only the beginning, dude. You're a good dude. You're super talented. You're doing it, baby. You're on your way up. We support you to the fullest. We support you to the fullest. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Kurando, we won't keep you all night. We thank you very much for your time. You know, you ever want to come back on, you're always welcome back here. You know what I mean? We'll always be promoting your stuff as it comes out and preaching the word, baby. Preaching the word.
Definitely. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. I had such a fun time talking to you guys. Please have me back again. This was an honor talking to you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy
I'll
the
catch you
rest
guys
of your
later.
night.
Have a good
Bye.
one.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Catch you
Bye-bye.
later. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well,
He's adorable.
he was the man, you know.
He's absolutely adorable.
Kurando is the man. You know, we met him 2017, I think we said.
I don't remember him at Rock and Shock.
Huh?
I don't remember him from Rock
Actually,
and Shock.
2017 might have been before me and your time. Was it?
I think that might have been when I met. No, that
I was around the time I almost died. I almost died of the diabetes in 2017.
That was the year I was Billy's convention manager.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, that year was a mystery. But I remember you.
Yeah.
And lots of clouds. I remember your face and cloudy smoke. Hell yeah. No, great dude. Great dude, super awesome. Yeah, met him at Rock and Shock. I wasn't completely hip to his stuff, but I met him. He was a good dude. I liked what I seen, and then I investigated it further. And the films are really good. You know what I mean? You would assume that we would just say it because he's a guest on our show, but I gotta say it again, man. If you like exploitation, underground, gory, fun, action-packed movies, you know, with that samurai culture to it, that Asian style that's awesome, definitely check out his movies, man, because they're high quality. Everything about him's great, you know what I mean? And super talented dude.
Well, if I can survive a Serbian film.
And you survive a Serbian film. If you can survive a Serbian film. You know what I mean? Everything I said to him was honest. Honest Abe, honest engine. It was all real deal stuff. So like, I wasn't just puffing on wood.
Up his ass like I was.
I wasn't just puffing wood, yo. I wasn't just puffing on that wood stick, yo. The films are great. Go support them. Go check them out. Get out there, support Kurando Mitsutake, who's the man, the best ever. Go support the banner, smashes Rohad.
Banner Smash Rohad Association. And
if you got a little time left in the day, support Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie on our Facebook page. We also, if you go to the Boombastic Media YouTube page, you can see Shock Treatment TV episodes where you're probably watching this fantastic interview right now. And we also have a Patreon page out there for anybody looking to support the good old cause. You know, if you want to see a new age Charles Manson family pop up in 2022, put your money where your fucking mouth is. We get some damage done and go support Boombastic Films in the media system at Boombastic Stream, and it's quite beautiful, they say. You can go there, get podcasting things, web show things, and film things too. There's multiple tiers, and you will have tears of joy after reading these. And there's so many cool different things you can get in all those different brackets. But we're not going to sell it. You sell that to yourself. You go watch it. It sells itself, ladies and gentlemen. I used to sell Kirby vacuums for a short period of time, and I gave it up to sell something of real value myself to you motherfuckers.
Bullshit. That's what you're selling right now. No, I'm kidding.
Bullshit. Yeah, pretty much. That's how it goes. Everybody support yourself out there. You know,
I'm supporting everybody. I got my AR-15 t-shirt on today.
Give support. Yeah, support banner, Kurando. And if you got a little support left in the chamber for us, support Shock Treatment with Mel Matt.
Small business. It's support small business week. So do just that.
Small businesses, baby girl. All right then. Whoa, we'll catch y'all on the next episode of Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie.